Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Lilo Siegel, I'm from Germany and I like to give tips all about sewing to make some of your works at home a little bit easier for you. This tutorial today is about doing an alteration. To be honest, that's something I don't like to do, but sometimes it's just necessary. As an example, we bought those trousers a couple of weeks ago because it was a very good offer, it's a very good material and we liked the pattern very much and it fits really well. But as the fashion at the moment is that you're supposed to wear the trousers from the knee down quite tight, we found very fast that it is alright as long as you're walking around with the trousers. But don't sit down with them or don't drive the car with them, because if you get out of the car or you get up in a restaurant while you just had a nice meal, you'll find out that the trousers is moved up all the way, and because they're so tight, they don't fall down on their own. That means you're in a nice restaurant, you have to bend down to pull your trousers down. No, that is not very nice. And that is why I am going to make the leg a little bit wider from the knee down to the bottom, to the hem, not towards the top, but it will look as if you have a one stripe put down from the waist all the way to the bottom, to the hem. Because I have to use a different material, because as you know, when you bought something totally finished sewed, you don't find the same material anymore. That is out of the question. So I took a plaid denim, because I got the plaid design in these trousers, so that will fit perfectly to put this stripe on the side in. And as well, I will extend it also with this color, because on tight trousers you find that they, after you made them wider, that they're actually too short. They will only go till around the ankle or just hit the top of your shoes, and that looks a bit stupid. So we have to make them longer, and as you know, in a bought pair of trousers there's also not enough material in the hem in. That's why I need to also use this other material. My first job now will be to open up the seam on the side where I want to put this stripe in, as far as I need to open it to work this stripe in perfectly. So that's what I'm going to do first of all, and then I continue showing how we can do this. Now, as you can see, I opened up the side seam approximately to the hip height. I cut some stripes which I want to put on top of the side. I cut it 8 centimeters wide, and I already went with the overlock along all the long edges and ironed each side of the stripe 1 centimeter over. I also opened the other seam, the inner seam of the trousers, completely. Because of that, it's so much easier to do this alteration on the trousers. These edges are also cleaned off with the overlock, because the actual stripe more or less will be stitched from the right side on, so it looks on the left side approximately like this. That means afterwards I cannot really get onto these edges to go along with the overlock, and that's why I did it first. But how exactly that works now, I will show to you on the sewing machine. So here I got the edge of the side seam and I got my stripe here, and I will start on the bottom, on the seam, stitching my plaid stripe on top of my trousers like this. So on the bottom, more or less, if you want to, you can a little bit stitch this on that side together first, but I will start right away there and then let the leg part run towards the middle of the stripe to about where the knee is, because here I want the width for the trousers really to be more comfy, so when you've been sitting down and getting up, they will fall down on their own. So I'll take this part here, take my trousers and put for the first bit edge on edge right there, fold this down and start right there. And immediately, as I do have a very stretchy material here, you can see that, really stretchy, I will use my pattern, as I like to always stitch with, because then I know my parts will stay in one position as I got it lying here, not that I get some extra material pulled in by the transporter from the machine, or even this will be stretched out. That I don't want. So for the first 6, 7, 8 centimeters, I really only have my edge running against the edge there. Take my pattern, put it on the top, and stitch the first part. And slowly from here on, already, I slightly let my trousers run more towards the middle of the stripe, as you can see right here. You cannot do it abrupt very fast. You must really do it very slow and evenly, so at the end when you're finished with the sewing, it will not be pulling to any way and any sides. But I have to think, where is my knee? Where do I want to finish with the width? That's why I'm going wider inwards here, bit by bit, and try to be evenly. If you can't do it like that, of course, you can put pins in first and have a look at it. But it would just be too long for me to show you all that in the video. That's why I'm doing it the way I would do it if you're not watching me anyway. So here already, I'm getting to my hip area, about to where I opened it up, because on the hip area I want to really already be in the middle of the stripe, and the trouser also, when I put the other side on, will join there in the middle. So I'm looking for this part here, putting it flat, put my pattern on again, and I know this is lying flat and really evenly stitched together. Try to put a bigger area flat down as possible, and you can see now if I would have not opened the inner seam, I wouldn't be able to do it so easily. I could also do it, but it would be such a mess to try to get inside. I wouldn't really enjoy this so much. So I tried to be more or less now in the middle, or to say my seam is more or less in the middle between my stripe. I'm getting closer and closer to my pocket area, and there actually I want to rather be not totally in the middle with my stripe, because otherwise my pocket will get a little bit too small for putting the hand inside. That's why I will be slightly towards the back with the stripe, but my pocket will get a little bit smaller, but that doesn't matter because it's huge anyway. But underneath, I got to look now that my lining from the pocket is really flat down, that I'm not getting any creases or pleaches into this. So all flat down, pattern on, and we stitch the next bit on. Again, I look underneath. I always like to be careful not to have to maybe open the seam up again that I just stitched. As you know, we've done already enough opening up on these trousers. And what I also did meanwhile, exactly in the area here in the belt where my stripe should be going inwards like the trousers, I opened it up already, as you can see. So when I get up there, all I have to do is push it underneath and cut the lengths off in case if my stripe is a little bit too long, because I cut it a little bit longer to make sure I'm not short somewhere. As you can see, here is my pocket area now. I'm still using my pattern to go on. It also helps it to go over the thick part anyway. And now I want to be with my stripe exactly on the other side when I stitch there, next to my loop that I got there. And that's why putting it exactly next to it already there. And now I can see, here's my belt where I got to put it under, so I cut this short enough to be able to really push my stripe under the belt. Look again that I'm exactly next to my loop here. And I open the belt a bit more, so later on I will stitch this on top there. So now all I do is turn my trousers once around underneath the machine, look right away where my other pocket linings are lying, fold my ironed edge over, and I start opposite of where I just finished sewing. And again I look underneath, because now on this top area everything really has to lie flat down. And I'm taking my pattern, and at the moment, while I still got the seam from the side all the way down to the hip closed, I must make sure that I don't get any funny pleaches in that area, and this has to be really flat, all parts flat on top of each other. And that's where that pattern is helping you so much to stay in position and not to move around. So again, I'm really checking, it's got to be flat, as if you just ironed it. It's got to be perfectly there lying down. Still, I got my side closed, so that means all the way to there. I don't need to worry about anything. I just go all the way exactly to where it's still closed underneath. But now I got to start thinking, how do I want to start letting it run away? Because that's how approximately up there the seam is. But I want to slightly start moving away already. Otherwise the jump would be too much on the bottom. So I do this bit by bit. And again I look, because now I'm getting towards the knee area here. And from the knee area on, I know I want to be wider. Because that was the idea, what I wanted to do with these trousers. To make it wider on the bottom of the legs. So as you can see here, I'm still left over, and I leave it like that because that's not yet the end of it. But now I start looking towards the end, and I already put it there the same as I had it there in the beginning, and I look that it's lying properly, slightly going over, evenly going over. And all I have to do now is finish the seam all the way to the bottom. That's it. There we are. Check your work now to make sure it's totally flat on every side and everywhere you wanted it. And that is before you even ironed the seam that you've just stitched. Because now, already, I can again close my inside seam, and then I will just add something on the bottom. So let me prepare this, and then I'll be back with you. Meanwhile, I closed the inner seam as well, and I prepared myself a stripe for the hem, which I cut 8 centimeters wide and just a little bit longer as my whole width of the bottom hem will be. And I ironed it exactly in the length once half over. And as you can see, of course, one edge is also done clean with the overlock already. So I take my trousers with the left side on the outside at the moment, and I take my stripe. I'm putting it a little bit over the inner seam, because when I'm finished with this hem, I do not want all the seams lying exactly on top of each other, which usually makes it a little bit too thick. So instead of putting it 1 centimeter over, I put it 2 centimeters over. But I'm starting there about 1 centimeter, approximately 1 centimeter away from the edge. Here I got edge on edge, and I'm stitching this part once all the way around on my bottom edge here. When I get to my seams from my stripe that I just added into the trousers, I make sure that those are lying exactly as I stitched them down and not being folded over. And I go all the way around to the start where I've just started this stripe. And just before I get there, as I said to you, I cut it a bit longer because I don't want to run short. So what I do is I make myself a little mark here where they should meet by putting a little cut in. Now I finish early enough off putting these cuts on top of each other. I put this in a right angle to make sure it's straight, and I'm closing this in the width where my cuts are. As you can see, this has got to be right angled if you cut it that way, of course. I go all the way through And I cut the excess off because I don't need that. And I continue again where I just stopped stitching and putting this seam apart. Also iron it apart if you wish. And I just go over my line. This got to be apart now. Now I'm pulling this down. I put this seam in the bottom because then you can see this seam is totally finished and cleaned. But again, to stitch, I start here where I just finished stitching this extra bottom piece on. If you haven't done so much sewing, you should go first on the iron now and iron this flat for you the way you want it, because you got to be careful that now this doesn't roll over onto your trouser part, and you got to be here in the ironed edge and look underneath that it's all nice and flat, and then stitch it on exactly onto your seam here to make this hem straight and flat and nice looking, as if this was planned from the very beginning to add this extra bottom onto those trousers, because it fits now very nice with your added piece to make the trousers wider in the bottom part. Make sure it doesn't roll over. Look underneath that there's nothing lying in the way, that it will be all even, and go all the way to where you just started stitching. And there you go. That's how tidy it looks from the inner side, the left side. And when you turn it over, you got this beautiful, evenly made seam on your trousers. Now let me show you, after I've turned them inside out, what it looks from the right side. And here we are with the result. I meanwhile closed the belt as well, which I've opened up to push my stripe nicely under. And you can see here how nice it looks with the extension of the legs. So these trousers are not going to be high water trousers. They're going to be a proper size, nicely looking on top of your shoes. And the stripe fits so well with it that these trousers are very unique. And maybe that's what you can do, or want to do, or got to do with some of your tight trousers on the bottom area. I say thank you to all of you for watching. Please subscribe my channel and give me a comment after you've been looking and hopefully enjoying my videos. I say thank you. Until next time. Tschüss.